Time is now 7 o'clock. The Cicero Town Council meeting is now in session. If you could all please rise for the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing, Ms. Gary.
You bow with me. Thank you, Father. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to be together and take care of business for the town. I pray that you be with the council, give them the knowledge and courage that it needs to make these big decisions for the town. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you all. Ms. Gary, if you could please take roll.
I will. Joe Cox.
Present.
Eric Hayden. Dennis Johnson. Jacob Everett.
Present.
Emily Pearson.
Present.
We have quorum with 4 members present. Moving along to the approval of the agenda. We do have some additions to the agenda tonight. We need to add the ordinance for the bump out seating.
Is that new business?
That would be new. Aaron?
Yeah, I don't think that's been on the agenda.
No.
Okay. Bump out,
Do you want that number?
yes, please.
04-21.
Hold on, say that again.
I'm sorry, 04-21-2026-01.
Okay. We also need to add, I see Reynolds out there somewhere. Where are you here?
He'll just be under.
There you go.
He'll be under
Keith.
Keith.
Okay. What else do we need to add? You asked for an approval tonight on the TIF.
You did that, you don't have to do it here.
Oh, we did it in RDC
Yeah.
meeting. Okay. I feel like we're missing something.
Maybe, we'll figure it out.
Okay, as we, e-bikes is on there. All right. All right. If there's no other additions or amendments, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved. Emily Pearson.
Second.
Motion a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have an agenda. Moving along to the approval of the prior minutes. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes from April 7th, 2026? Any questions, revisions needed? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved. Emily Pearson.
Second, Jacob Everett.
Motion a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Minutes are good to go. Moving along to the claims dated 4/21/26. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the claims?
So, Rhonda, is it standard to use the card to get gas? What departments are using gas? I saw like 4 or 5.
It was different, and don't worry, when Terry brought us in, I jumped his case. I said,
Well, no, I'm not talking specific, because there were multiple occurrences of it.
the pumps were out at the school.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
And
So-
Terry was so afraid when he brought his bill in. I said, what the hell? He said, you go into Speedway. He said, I was bone dry and the pumps were out. I had to do it.
So, no, that makes sense, because there were a couple and you
There
never
were.
see any.
He was this close to a free 64-ounce fountain pop, and you just needed to put it over.
I looked at I scanned that receipt very closely. He even wrote it on his receipt. The pumps were out. It's not just you, Chris.
All right. Any more questions on the claims? If not, I'll entertain a motion to pay the claims as presented.
So moved. Emily Pearson.
Well, second.
Motion a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pay the bills.
Thank you.
Moving along to council committee reports, I have nothing under EDC. Mr. Freeman?
Good evening, Council. Stormwater this night has nothing new to bring to the table. However, like Keith updates you on enforcement and so I think that we really got onboarding and checking.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving along, legal counsel report, Mr. Cole.
Now, the only thing I have is I wanted to see if the council had a feeling what it wanted to do in terms of the weight limits we discussed at the last meeting. Mr. Bryant sent an email breaking down what some of the other communities would do.
I found some, sorry.
You know, one of the things is, you know, I like that Carmel they've lapped all of their local roads into it, and that way there's no incentive for them to try to find a way to navigate through the other roads that aren't listed. They've kind of covered all their roads, and I think that seems to be in line with what the town was wanting. It's just a question of, you know, are we talking 5-ton, 10-ton? What do you guys want to do?
Now, is this a discussion we're ready to have? We did ask the county to provide some alternative routes, essentially, that would be their preference.
Yeah, I don't think we've heard back from them.
We haven't heard back from them, that's why I'm,
And I am fine if you want to delay this till after staff meeting. I just didn't want to, I wanted to make sure we kept the ball.
I would like to move forward. I mean, we've invested, we're getting ready to invest addressed again.
Okay.
I found some information today I'd like to show you. And I want you to go through and verify this stuff, but it appears that 11,000 pounds is a really nice breaking point, and it will make it easy for our police department to do some enforcement. So I'd like to kind of show you what I found and see if we might consider that.
You're talking about the distinction between,
Yeah,
Class
because
one
there's
and two.
different plates
Yeah.
on those different, so I think, I don't want to just pick some random number and then make it really hard for Jeff and his team for Chief and his team to
and that was going to be
enforce.
one of my recommendations, is we tie it to one of the classes, and that way they know when they see the plate whether they meet it or not.
That's what I was trying to do today, so I'd like to show that to you, and I know, Eric, you're very interested, so you guys can, I'm not saying we have to do it this way, but that's where my head went. I'm ready to move forward, I think we just need to get it drawn up.
Then, I'm ready for you to draw it up at 11.
I'm fine with that.
11,000?
That's that class.
I'll show you what I found, and
Okay.
if you find something better, I'm not married to it,
I
but,
was looking at the same thing, and I was thinking 11,000.
okay, well,
So,
I'll show you what I found,
Yeah.
and then if you can bring something back to us, I think we're ready for it.
all
So
right.
I guess I
No.
could, so an empty triax,
No.
so it would have a plate of 11,000, I'm assuming, or is that plate for loaded?
I think they would be heavier than that. I think 11,000, you're talking about pickup trucks and things of like a 5-ton, 5.5-ton. I mean, a dump truck is well in excess of that.
Okay, so all dump trucks have to go.
Yeah, unless it's for local business.
Correct.
Yeah,
And semis, and
yeah,
so somebody digging downtown Cicero, they're fine.
yeah. But if it's not local business, the only road they'd be allowed to use is 19 within Cicero.
And some of the exceptions I found, there's some stuff in state law, which obviously it's just going to be, we can't override that, but there's some agricultural exceptions, public safety, obviously, so stuff like that. I mean, it's all very logical stuff.
Yeah. All right, then I will do that, and I will also include in that same ordinance a provision establishing the 20-minute parking areas. Because as we discussed last month, I think one ordinance can insert that because we're amending the same area of the ordinance for both cases.
And we are going to go with a time restriction on those as far as during certain hours, right? Okay.
Did you change that to 20-minute parking, or is it 15?
20.
It's one way they could make it work.
And other than that, I didn't have anything right now. We have more later.
Okay. All right, so we're good on legal counsel report? All right, moving.
Going back, I mean, is there a consensus on the 20-minute parking? Everybody feels those 3 additional spots, I think it's 3 spots.
During, what, the hours of 10 and 5?
Okay, it's during those hours.
Only business heavy hours?
Okay.
Yeah, I felt like,
Weekdays
Well,
only or
hold
weekends?
on. Now that brings up a point. If we're going to put one out here, for Dark Side, that's an early morning business, so maybe we need to make this one a different hour range.
Or maybe you don't do it all from the dark side.
Dark Side's one of the, I think being a business where a lot of pickups occurring, that we, maybe we make that one, where were these all located? Dan, can you refresh this? I know there was one, the hardware store in front of Nolan James, and then the spot immediately in front of Dark Side.
That's correct.
Okay.
Those 3. So you certainly can make them all consistently. Because Sullivan's does open early as well, so,
Call it 8 to 5.
sure.
Does that work for everyone?
Why in front of Nolan James?
That was just one adding for the businesses down, just instead of putting them both in front of the hardware store.
And we wanted to make sure that's on the other side of the road, right?
That's
Or 2 of them on the other side,
No, just one.
just one.
in front of Nolan James. And also, sort of designed a little bit around the potential for being able to drive off dogs and things. So
Yeah.
I don't think being consistent, 8 to 5 would seem to work for all those.
Yeah, and the,
Easier to do.
lost my train of thought, but, we're essentially adding a spot too, in front of the hardware store by removing that yellow.
It sounds like there's a consensus.
Okay. Yep, so we're good there?
yep.
All right, moving along, Cicero Jackson Township Plan Commission report, Mr. Zawatsky.
Evening, council. I have no updates.
Okay. Mr. Strong, do you have anything?
Not the present time, sir.
All right, do you have anything under special projects?
No, sir, unless you have questions on some of the things on the agenda. I don't have anything. Thank you.
Okay. sir. Moving along, town engineering report, Mr. Bryant.
You know,
Can we pass that around?
this is just a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see if we need it. Wastewater treatment plant, Reynolds here, they continue to work on the oxidation ditch and clarify rehabs and piping, et cetera, so we can get everything switched over and the old equipment and processes back online and hopefully get the project wrapped up. At the last meeting, we talked about their Pay App 21, so I don't know if it's on the agenda, if you want to consider processing that at this point. Or...
We typically do it under you, so we can do it now.
Okay.
Mr. Hayden, do you have any questions?
Lots of questions, but no.
You sure? Okay. Regarding Pay App 21. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve Pay Application 21 in the amount of $414,473.71, of which $20,723.73 is retainage.
And related to, we emailed up.
Hang on a
Hold
second.
on, we're in the middle of the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Slow down there, Mr.
We're
Bryant.
gonna pay them.
So,
So moved.
have a motion, do I have a second?
Hang on, when did you send this one? I'm trying to find Pay App 21.
Prior,
It was last meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the one we had last meeting.
Second.
Yeah,
This was
the
one that-
third,
it was
maybe.
sent on April 3rd.
Do we have the next Pay App yet? We have
No.
22?
No.
No, they're here to talk about contingency funds.
Okay, hold on, Joe. Let me look.
Do you have it, Jacob? I have it.
I
here.
found it.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
All right. Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let's get them paid. Now you can continue to fire away.
A few days ago, we sent Reynolds forwarded to us on April 15th, the letters dated for potential or use of other contingency funds. There's a lot of information there, and I guess at this point, I just ask Reynolds to come present that, and we can have a discussion, if that's acceptable.
Absolutely.
Who drew the short straw?
Good evening. My name's John Cornelius. I'm the project manager for Reynolds for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade. So as Keith mentioned, we sent in a letter letting you know that we intend to use contingency. There was some additional, we incurred additional costs since the last meeting due to unforeseen circumstances. We did sign up for a GMP, so we want to live and abide by that. So we gave some concessions in addition to the money that we're asking for. So we gave labor and Reynolds-owned equipment concessions.
I mean, do you have a breakdown of that, John?
It was, just bear with me, I'll look at the letter. The total letter, the contingency usage is around 169,000. And at the end of the letter, we are stating that we're going to contribute about 220,000 to the project. That's done because we own our own equipment and we can control the labor costs, or at least what we're charging, what we would bill for.
So the 169 is
Materials and-
after what you've contributed back?
Yes.
So I just like to be transparent. I think you were here when we originally signed up for the bond, weren't you?
No.
No, okay. So out of this one, we brought in an extra, or we, meaning you guys, right? Brought in an extra concrete crew for the first time to help, yet we're being charged overtime for their first time being on site. I struggle with that a little bit, right? Myself. And I am really having a hard time getting over the $1 million for the extra $1 million over, I'm just throwing out numbers, whatever that is about the equipment adder, for being roughly, call it 30% additional time, and we are at $1 million over what the budget anticipated. I am really, really struggling with that line item specifically. I don't get it how it's about 30%, yet it's double the cost. So we're saying we added equipment during that 30%, and from what was typically there for the 18 months prior, for that 3-month period, or?
Well, so I think a lot of the, and I think I covered this in an email a few months ago, there was the overall, the end date of the project, the last thing we were going to do was do the paving and the seeding. That pretty much stayed the same. But a lot of the other tasks kept getting delayed and so the schedule moved to the right as a delay. So when we would have had some of the larger pieces of construction equipment demobilized off-site at an earlier date, they continued to remain on site to do more work due to the different delays that we had, the different unforeseen conditions that we found. And the end date remained the same because it was based upon time of year, because we weren't going to do the paving and the seeding in January.
So can you give me, I don't mean to put you on the spot, please don't take that. I mean, can you give me like a piece of equipment we're talking about? The paving equipment was early and it just sat there, and we're being charged for that? Or
No.
what? Because the amount of work is the same, right? It was, we were delayed by roughly 3 months. Is that about approximate?
No, there were two different things. The initial one is, the initial contingency use last year was primarily due to site conditions that we found. So that's one thing.
Yeah, there's a specific line item for about $1 million for equipment on site.
Mm-hmm.
So we were about $1 million over for equipment on site. That line, I understand having to dig extra, I understand that, that line item. That makes complete sense to me. It's the project extending by, how long is it? By roughly 3 months?
As an estimate, I mean,
Call it 3-4 months.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's actually, if you look at it's actually more than that. If you look at when originally some of the primary work was going to be done at like the Oxidation Ditch 2 and Clarifiers 1 and 2, which is the existing equipment refurbishment, that was going to be originally completed in fall. I'm going from memory, I haven't
yeah, I understand.
looked at the schedule, but now it's going to be completed roughly 6 months later.
So, I'm hoping you can help me understand. I want to understand. And maybe you have to go back and look. The original budget, let's call it 1.1 million for equipment use, right?
Mhm.
And now we're roughly at 2.1 million. And I'm going off of memory. Keith, maybe you know, I don't.
It's closer to 1.7.
Original budget was a little over $1 million, and now we're close to $2 million.
Okay. So almost double what we had anticipated, and I understand the extension, I just really can't grasp that the same equipment had to be used, and I understand we're delayed a little bit, and some delays, so call it 30-40%. I don't know, but not double is where I'm struggling.
Well, the equipment doesn't just sit there on site, obviously, it's being used. So if we're, and going back to the larger contingency usage last year, that was primarily due to additional underground interferences, things of that sort, unknown conditions. And so we were using the equipment while it was on site. It was not just sitting there.
Well, we pay
So-
for it even if it's sitting there, but, I mean, that's not what was communicated earlier. What was communicated earlier was the project just extended, and that's paying for that equipment being on site with the project extended. Terry or Keith, please, if I misread, the statements coming back out of it, please correct me.
Back last year, there was some discussion of some additional equipment for backhoes and things for existing piping equipment that they work with, so there was some of that discussion.
But double the amount of equipment on site is, I mean, that's where I struggle. It doesn't sound like you have an answer for it. And again, I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Well, go ahead.
I was gonna add, I'm trying to make sure I understand the question, is what you're asking, let's say there was, and I'm just throwing out a number here, let's say it was $1 million to have equipment on site for 12 months, and the project was,
Budget line was $1 million.
was $1 million, and the project was extended by, the schedule was extended 30%, so add 3 months or whatever. Yet the amount is doubling versus paralleling.
That's correct.
Okay.
I just,
Well,
It feels like it should be a
so the-
prorated amount off of the original schedule cost, is what the
Well,
question.
it's not the, again, you have to look at when those particular pieces of machinery were able to be removed and demoted from site. So if we were done with most of the heavy construction, if we were slotted to be done in fall, as an example, and now we still have some of those heavy pieces of construction on site right now due to, as I mentioned earlier, the unknown site conditions and then challenges that we had last year, that would be roughly when we mobilize in July or August of 2024. So it's roughly 50% more time spent just for the primary construction activities. And I can have an additional sidebar conversation about it, how we, our equipment usage and things of that sort. I mean, we have different philosophies. I'd also like to point out that the construction equipment is not all Reynolds owned equipment.
yeah,
Roughly 20% of it was rented.
Understand that if it's rented and you pay for it being on site, I understand that. But I don't even know how I become comfortable with it. It just doesn't seem correct to me. I mean, it's the way it was sold during the bond discussion is, and the extra digging, I completely understand, that's unforeseen, and that is, I'm gonna call it legitimate. These are probably all legitimate costs. In my mind, that's a reasonable cost. Yeah, the data today, I don't see how it doubled, but
I'm struggling to understand that too, and I'm sure there's a logical explanation. And I guess maybe part of it is I don't know how to ask the question properly.
so thank you for coming and trying to.
Can somebody tell me the original contract amount without the contingency?
Are you talking about just on the construction equipment, or are you talking about the total?
No, the whole thing.
19.2, wasn't it?
And
That's
with-
with,
19.2 is with contingency.
Take 1.4 off.
Yeah, thereabouts. Right.
okay, so to get this project done, what if it costs 19.3?
That's what the GMP comes into play, is my understanding, right?
No, they're saying they'll stay at the 19.2 by continuing to absorb some additional costs until the project's finished.
I'm asking contractually.
It's
It's 19.2.
It's 19.2.
So if it costs you
Right.
20, you have to finish the project?
Unless we had change orders.
Yeah.
Unless there's change orders.
So I don't, I just think it's a little bit disingenuous to say you're giving us this $200,000 back, because like, that's just money you can't collect anyway.
Well, we've had some change orders. though.
No, that's not what I'm arguing about. I just have none of this, like, the project's late, the project's over budget. Like, what are we supposed to say?
Well, it's not, yeah, I'm not defending anybody or not, right? So going into this, the budget is set at 19.2. There was a significant belief that it would come in under. So the granular, the extra digging in that work, whatever that was, call it 250 or 400. To me, that's a reasonable expense. Doubling equipment use from 1 to 2 million, again, I'm just talking rough numbers, I have a little bit of heartburn with. So we did this hoping we could get some money back. All along the plan was for 19.2, but
Do you have a response to my question, though? I mean, it's late and it's over budget. Like, how are we supposed to react to that?
There's been delays that were out of our control. We're finding conditions on site that are, were unknown. That's affected our schedule. It's affected our productivity. There's
nothing from the crowd to him, please.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd also like to point out that we had, of the contingency being used, there's roughly 25% of it that was added that we allowed contractually to be added, because those items by contract could be a change order.
Right. I agree with that.
Thank you for working with us. I don't know that I'm going to get to, like I said, my big heartburn is with the equipment adder. I don't know that I'm going to get to where I'm happy, but we're close, right? And that top number is there. We're hoping to have some of that back. But it looks like we're close. Any completion date is when?
We're still looking at a completion date of, I think we've talked about June most recently.
Okay.
I hope we're done.
Hope we're-
We have to have, I agree, order compliance plan. We have to have the new plant completely in operation before June 1st.
And that, June would be punch list items and things of that sort.
Restoration.
Right. We hope to do the paving prior to that.
All right.
I don't have anything else.
I appreciate you coming in and trying to help me explain. We did get a little bit different information this time, so I appreciate that. So thank you.
All right. Welcome. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming in and helping try to explain to me on. Thank you.
Thanks.
Move along.
Move along.
2024 CCMG, that's the West Jackson project. They did tear out concrete curb and sidewalk in front of Jimmy's, poured it again last Friday. Looks really good, so I think we're good there. The only thing I know of on their punch list that they still have to do are the ADA markings and the inverted blue lines they painted down here. They had sent an email they were going to try to do that. Their sub was going to do that last week, but I'm going to check. They did not reply to me today, but I'm guessing just because of the temperature swings that they didn't do it. So they're going to do it. They just haven't done it yet. So we did get the package assembled. Rhonda submitted it to NDOT, so ahead of schedule. So hopefully, if they have any questions, NDOT being the grant administrator, they'll let us know. We should be good as far as closeout on that. And of course, we still have a 12-month warranty as well.
I did get a response that she sent a letter that she closed out the grant.
Oh, awesome. Man, that was fast.
It was. I've been so confused. There's a grant for 24, 25, 26, and 27.
It's easy to get them, and two of them are in Jackson Street, so it's easy to get
Yeah.
them, real easy to get them confused. If no questions on that, the 2026 CMG, which is the East Jackson Street projects from Jackson Street, the east side of Peru, of course, out to the corporate limits. We have a pre-construction meeting for that project with the Howard companies at 2 o'clock on tomorrow here, so.
Keith, I've already asked you this. How long, or do we know how long traffic will be affected? Like, will it be completely shut down for a period, or are they
They're
going to
not
be
allowed
one
to
lane at a
shut it
time?
down completely. They have to
Okay.
keep a lane open and mill in separate phases and paves and have flaggers and get people through. So they have to keep everybody open. I mean, it'll probably back up some during that
Okay.
period, but they initially thought it'd take them a week or so to do it. I think it's probably a little optimistic, but.
Okay.
But it might only be, it's not going to be anything like here. I mean, the paving will take 2-3 weeks to mill and pave at the most.
Okay.
They do have a little bit of piping work to do and a few other little things before they do that. But we'll have a better idea of their schedule tomorrow, but that's roughly. Morris Landing Drive, the Stormwater Board project that Bruce mentioned, we did have a pre-con on that. The contractor on that, LB, plans to begin this week. Just FYI, we had a meeting with Frontier/Verizon in that they were going to hold off on doing any work in that project area until after we were done, and they somehow forgot, and they did about a third of it or 25% of it. And of course, our contractor's saying that's in their way and going to cost money. Long story short, a lot of going back and forth. The Verizon contractor was supposed to be out and basically take out what they put in to get it out of the way, and then they're going to come back and put it in again.
So I had a call about an upset person with them tearing up their yard, and they put it in and tearing up their yard, and they took it out.
And now they're going to put it back in again.
Well, but this is actually on the opposite side of the road.
Oh, so it wasn't.
Yeah, so they're tearing up the opposite side of the road.
So they pulled out the other side too.
Yeah, so the boxes are on the east side. As you're driving in the Morris, to the left side of the road. The drainage is on the right side of the road, yet they're pulling boxes up on the east side.
But there were some small boxes on the west side as well.
I don't know.
There
Okay,
were.
Maybe there was.
There
but
were.
I believe you might drive through there, or I can give you a call when I drive through there. Because I was told they were tearing them up on the opposite side as well.
And that, if they're going to re-drill it, they may have decided to do that maybe they need to do that to.
Okay,
for
so we'll just leave it then? Okay.
Yeah. Our contractor's supposed to get back with us, but he wanted $15,000 or $20,000 just to dig it out, and we told him, no, that's not going to happen. And then we got Verizon's contractor said, okay, we'll go out and tear out what we can to get out of their way to save us $20,000. A
So this
claim
is-
from our contractor, so.
This is the first time I've heard Verizon in this. It's always been Frontier. I take it this is a joint.
My understanding is
I think they own them.
Oh, they own them?
they merged somehow, or were bought or something. So I may misspoke with that. I've seen combinations of both in correspondence.
I haven't heard anybody mention Verizon.
Oh, really? Maybe I'm just making it
I
up.
saw one of their
Is that-
trucks, and I think it said, like, under Frontier, it said Verizon or something.
That's why I've seen some.
There must be some relationship,
Yeah,
yeah.
Keith, was that 40K or 20K that they were going to come back?
20.
20? Yeah, thank you.
And we disputed that and said, well, they said all you got to do is dig it out of the way, and they were adamant they wanted more money, and so ultimately we got to this conclusion.
I'm done with my computer.
All right, that makes sense then, thank you.
2027 CCMG scoping, on the 19th, I emailed up, we kind of looked at continuing from Pearl out to the restaurant and on the north side of the condos with walk and lighting as well as then milling and repaving out all to the east side of the bridge, which I think is a scope we all wanted. So we put numbers to it based upon past bids, et cetera, and sent that up. And I mean, basically, at some point in time, we've got to decide on the scope of that sometime relatively soon, because again, as we talked before, if they have a July opening for applications, that's the intent, and that's what we know at this point. If we wait till July to survey and start design, we won't meet their now compressed time frame, so we'll lose the grant. So, I mean, if we're going to proceed, we have to first get started, so, which means first step is decide on the scope, because we can't figure out how much it's going to cost to survey and put the bid documents together until we know what the scope of work is. So that's why we did this, to try to get started through that process. So, did anybody have any questions? And I don't know if you want to get into a lot of detail on that tonight. I don't know if you've even had time to.
I just had a quick question, Keith. There was 2 drawings that were sent. I think one was old, right?
Yeah, the one drawing just showed the intersection. That was kind of from, we had done a study years and years ago, and had actually submitted to the MPO twice to try to get financed. And that kind of showed the handicap areas a little better than my other sketch, which is a lot
The one
rougher.
you sketched has all the arrows all over it? Is that the new one? Okay.
Yeah.
So that has, I just want to confirm, that has a elevated pedestrian crossing on both sides?
Both sides.
Okay.
And one thing we could look at doing to save some money is just to do one. I mean, we could do the one east of Main Street and not do the other one. The thing about it, though, is the way the numbers shake out. Assuming our estimates are right, we're gonna only gain 20% of that from a town.
Yeah.
Because
I like-
it
I like-
falls in the grant.
If we want to use those, which we can debate, I'd like to have them both. Because it's just elevated and it goes back down to grade.
Right.
It's not elevated through that whole section, right? It's
No,
almost,
just the crosswalk.
right, yeah, okay.
And there's kind of landing in the middle, and there are braking lights and push buttons on each side, so you
Okay.
have
But yeah,
all
we
that.
can debate if that's the right solution or not. If we're going to do those, I like them on both east and west personally.
No, the difference, another difference, and I've got some boxes, I added those boxes. You'll see that, we were going to improve the radii on that old drawing there, Eric. Yeah, so you see the radii on the turning are better there, where we can't do that unless the poles are removed. And the pole movement, and, if we're going to do that, we could do that, but we'll have to wait till next year to submit to CCMG, because we'll never get it done in the time frame. They'll never get the poles moved, and it'll be more money.
Where the pole's at, is the pole here?
They're pretty close in there, yeah.
What about on this side?
There's one right there too, guy wires right there. If you drive by it, you'll see there's quite a bit of things in the way. It'd be nice to get those radiuses improved, but if we're going to do that for this round, I don't think we can get it, well, I know we can't get it done, but just because it's a private utility, and there's probably 3 utilities on that pole, or those poles.
So I know there's some good discussion. Are you guys happy with this?
To me, something safety-wise is a big priority. Whether or not it's these raised crosswalks or what, I don't know what the right answer is, but if we're going to do this project, I want us to do something safety-wise.
Well, west and east are the only raised, going
Right.
north, the north and the south on Main Street are not.
Right.
But you got a stop sign there, right?
Those are stop signs, yes.
Where are you?
So yeah, it's just raised, and with the crossing, the lights and the push buttons on the non-stop traffic, east-west.
And you will have additional sidewalks for people to walk on down there too as part of this project. So,
Right, in front of Cascada, right?
yeah.
So the condos?
Yeah, on the north side of the condos, and there'd be 3 new lights on the north side there. In the estimate, we factored in replacing all the street lights, of course, can't see it on this drawing, but on the drawing, all the way from Main over to Pearl to match what we got now, and, the same walk widths. I can tell you when we get to in front of the restaurant there, it's going to be really tight. I'm not sure we'll be able to get full 8-foot walks, but we're going to have to get it surveyed and see what all's in there, because again, there's power poles and other things in the way there, so I'm not sure we'll be able to widen the walk dramatically.
Where are you talking about?
In the parking lot right there, just on the south side, but west of Main Street.
That section right there, or
Yeah.
something?
No, on the south side of the road. I think on the north side we'll be able to do it. I'm more concerned on the south side because there's a bunch of power poles in there. Again, this drawing is, if we had a perfect clean slate and the power poles were moved and all that was buried, that's not going to be the case. There's a concrete drainage ditch in there as well. And some,
That's got some hair, yours.
it is,
I think you can,
but there's,
I'll tell you later. But I think it's.
there's on the southeast side, there's a fire hydrant. I think that'll have to be
And I
moved
think
as
we
well.
want to force people to cross there and try to keep them from crossing at the intersection. Which,
The aesthetic of the elevated crosswalk. I wasn't
Yeah.
that, like Vegas style versus just drive over, and we're talking drive over.
It's a speed limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to calm traffic, and if you go drive, when Chad Amos was on the board, he of course works in Carmel, and he pointed out several, and we went down and looked at them, and that was just kind of scoping at that point in time, and I think everybody thought that would work well, and it does work, but,
I mean, the only thing that I question is the crossing Main Street, and do you force it south and west, one or two car lengths back, and then you could put lights there as well, right? So you're not crossing right at that intersection as people are coming in. I don't know. I'm not a,
no, put what he has up. He doesn't have them at the intersection.
they're right here.
Yeah, that's the intersection. It is deceiving.
Is that the old drawing?
No, this is
that is the old drawing, but we would still have crossings right there, but they're not, they're just.
Do you have this one?
They're just marked.
yeah, it's right here.
See where his blue ones are? See how how far back they are from the intersection? That's your crosswalks, right? That's bright blue?
This one,
Yeah, yeah, and if you go back to the other drawing.
So are you saying you want them closer to the intersection?
No, those
He's
are
talking-
perfect.
He's talking about the north-south ones, aren't you, Eric?
Oh, the north-south, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the east-west, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Push them away from the intersection?
yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's something.
I agree.
Well, I mean, you start pushing them back, and then you don't have your stop bar where you need for traffic, and then they can't see traffic coming out, so I'm not sure, you may create a safety issue from that point, but that's, I mean, we can look at that, but that'd be my initial concern. You stop.
So when do we have to start making firm decisions on all this one for 27?
I mean, the reality is, we need to get out there, get a task order signed. Once we know the scope, we have to figure that out, and then we need to be out there surveying and designing in May, because we need to be ready, if at all possible, to bid by the time we'd find out in July or August that we have the grant, because then we're down to 90 days when you're notified you have the grant, that you have to have successful bids and contract signs with the contractor, so that they really pinch that window. Basically, they don't want you to wait until after you get the grant to do the design. They want you to incur the cost before. I mean, that's the only explanation I can come up with, which is unfortunate, but
If they make a decision at the next meeting, will that be time, or do you need a decision before the next meeting?
I think we decide at the next meeting what the scope of work is generally. That would give us enough time, then we can pull the task order together before the next meeting, get started.
Rhonda, can you make sure that's on the agenda, please, for the first meeting in May?
Say you need the task order now, or?
No, see, I can't put a task order together until we determine we all agree with the scope of work, because otherwise I'm just guessing at what we're doing, so I don't want to, it's not fair for either one of us to do that.
Yeah,
so.
I understand.
Keith, real quick, we have replaced 8 street lights, and then we have replaced 4. Why are we doing that?
The ones to the east go all the way over to Pearl, and there's still the old ones, and so to put in new foundations and match what we did on the other phase, and continue that, that's those 8.
Okay.
Then we don't have 3 on the north side, there's
Right.
nothing there, and then there's 3 or 4 on the south side, just because and if we survey them, maybe we can save money and not do those, but I'm afraid, based on looking at power poles and the lights, that if we don't move some of those, we're not going to be able to widen the walk.
It's not a huge item, I was just kind of curious, so.
And you're saying, just to make sure I'm clear, because we're pinched on time, we're not gonna be able to round these corners like this?
No, 'cause you're gonna have to move power poles first, and that's, I mean, it took us a year and a half to get these two little poles out here, and there's a lot more hanging on those poles than there, so. I know when we initially talked to Duke, they were $150,000 to move the poles, but that doesn't include the other utilities that are hanging on the poles.
So then essentially it stays as blue line?
Correct. I mean, we'll survey it, and then we might be able to, we're gonna move the hydrant on that side, so there's a chance we might be able to improve it some, but it won't be to that magnitude.
If we applied for this in whatever, late summer, when do we find out if we got it?
Well, there's no hard schedule. Right now, there's no hard schedule that they're even gonna do it in
Right.
July. But that's what they had anticipated doing last year. That's what they claimed. Every year from now on in July.
So I spoke to NDOT, and NDOT does not have definite timelines as far as when they're going to announce the grant, and then also as far as when they're going to award it. So more to come on that. But, you know, it may change from the cycle from July to September this year, but they've not made any decision on that. So unfortunately, in this particular case, we have to plan on July in case they don't move it, but then also they've not announced when they're going to award any dates at this point.
Can you just give me some historical context? From the time we apply to the time we find out, is it 90 days, is it 6 months?
It's usually in about 60, 90 on
Thank you.
But the last one was quicker than that.
the, quicker than that. It is about-
It was like a 30 days and right between Christmas and New Year's or something, as I recall, right in the holidays, so, yeah, so.
Okay.
But moving forward, as Mr. Bryan said, it'll be on the July cycle starting in 2027, moving forward from there.
It is 80/20 with a $1 million max grant, that's where they're at now.
Do we have money to spend on this?
I'll find it. Right, I'll find it.
And obviously, there's some water main components in that cost estimate to look at that's, we can talk about, but there's discussion if we ever going to extend water over that side and run a larger line, do we want to tear the pavement up later? So that's something else we have to decide as well. The thought was we could put a dry line in there and be ready for it, not to tear up the pavement, but, you know, you're also a lot of money, so. That could be paid for with future water bonds, but it's still a lot of money.
So really, if you were to do that, we're sitting at roughly 1.2, 1.15 to 1.2?
No, you're 1.74 without water. That's an
So
average.
that's 740K for the town, plus another 420, so 1.2 to the
Oh,
town.
yeah, I'm sorry, that's what you were talking about. Yeah, you're correct. Again, these are estimates. I think they're conservative estimates based upon prior numbers, so, but it doesn't behoove us to go into a grant application with low numbers, because if we go in there at 800,000 instead of the $1 million grant, that's what we're going to get, and if it bids higher than that, then it's 100% us. So historically, that's what we've had to be try to be high on the estimates as much as we can predict.
Plus engineering, right?
So those other discussions, this really wouldn't impact much.
I don't know. I would think roughly we'd have to come up with $500,000.
Sounds to me like this is better served the first meeting in May. Do a little legwork?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And if in the meantime, if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out. The only other thing I was going to bring up was that task order on the elevated tank survey. I don't know if you guys want to look at that or talk about tonight. I have talked to Dennis about it.
Personally, being that Dennis has done a lot of the legwork on it, probably be a better discussion for when he's here.
But he's not going to be here this
Next
meeting
meeting.
or the next meeting. I
Yeah,
don't
you're
think.
right.
I did, just FYI, I mean, if you want to delay it, that's fine. It's no issue with me. It just kind of delays the whole project at some point in time.
I don't have a
But
problem moving
I
forward.
did talk to him, and
I'm actually good moving forward.
his words to me was, oh, okay, I don't have an issue with that now, because I explained to him what was included.
Okay.
He initially thought it included just the survey work, but if you look at the task order, it includes some cost estimates, some engineering, some evaluation.
I saw that communication,
That he
so
he did not realize that was in there, so.
Yeah, I'm good.
What was the amount on that again? Was it like 12?
Yeah, $12,500.
Where are we going to take it from?
Water.
Yeah, water improvement.
I'll make a motion to approve the elevated tank survey and elevation and evaluation task order from United in the amount of $12,500.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Let's get her done.
So just for the audience, he's measuring our water tower heights, because there may be a little belief that they might not be even, and that can reduce pressure. So for any future work, we have to understand what that is. So that's what that is, that's what this is for.
My water pressure is great. My neighbor's is terrible.
Well, if we do anything, we're going to improve pressure, not. That's all I had. Was there any questions or any?
Just point of clarification, I looked it up, and as of the end of January, Verizon did acquire Frontier.
I'll get find that.
That makes sense.
I did just read that.
No.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bryant.
Thank you.
All right, moving along to old business, bike racks.
Set my whole world off.
So essentially, when we did the Jackson Street improvement, the bike racks, with the exception of the one in front of the hardware store, were removed. Since then, there's been a few inquiries about the replacement of bike racks. So we've been having some discussions on that, and if we were to put them back, where would we put them? Again, there's already one in front of the hardware store. It's starting to rust at the bottom. But from an accessibility standpoint, my feeling is if we don't put bike racks out there, people are going to be locking their bikes to the light poles, to the fencing out there. It's going to cause scrapes on those painted surfaces. So I think we need to have something from an accessibility standpoint. It's a matter of where.
Jared, you said there's one in front of the hardware store now?
There is one towards the garden center, yes.
Is it ours?
Yeah. And it does get used.
I never see it, but I mean, I believe
She
you.
tried to make me take a picture of it the other day for you. It's like, I'm not going to do that to Eric. He'll take my word for it.
I mean, I do, I don't believe it gets heavy use. I mean, you would see marks in that. So these are what we're talking about.
And basically, if we reused what we already have, those are what they would look like. There are alternatives out there that have a smaller footprint that would accomplish the same thing. They basically would accommodate a bike on each side.
So my perspective is we do not want to clutter that main thoroughfare with bikes sitting there.
I would be more in support of doing it on the side streets, even if they're a little farther away.
When you're biking, you're exercising, it doesn't hurt to walk a few blocks.
Sure. It's not really even a few blocks, it's less than a block in
Okay,
this
so call it 10
situation.
blocks. But
No,
you're
I'm saying
exercising.
less than, it's less than a block in most cases, so.
We just spent a fortune on downtown, and I don't think that we should clutter it up.
Wait, is that one there already?
No, these are not there. They just had one, and they just.
Oh, you said it there, okay, because I saw the fencing, and I was like, I don't remember that being out there.
So the one that's there is right there. This is what's there today.
Yep,
And that was left there because we did not tear out that sidewalk,
that's right.
because that was a brand new sidewalk in front of Sullivan's.
I'll put it back on, I guess that's the back to it. Is that fine?
I mean, if we were to put another one in front of Sullivan's, that's gonna cover most of downtown, just on the opposite end of where it's
No,
at.
why would you do that? It's already there.
I'm talking about the opposite end. Basically where it's sitting, right there.
Leave, why would you have two in such close proximity?
We don't have to, I'm just, if you don't wanna clutter up downtown in multiple areas, just isolate it to one area and let people walk a
Just-
little
If
bit.
people want it, they can walk their bike there.
Right? All the way down there.
Yep. We just said you're biking, you're already doing exercise, what's the block?
So we're gonna create an accessible downtown with ADA compliant parking and ramps and everything, and then take mobility pieces away.
I go get coffee, I'll leave my bike sit right there.
Or if it's not used, somebody's gonna tie it to our brand new painted fences out there and get them all scuffed up and clutter up and look worse.
So then a proposal would be, take a parking spot from right here, not use these, get a real bike rack, a different bike rack, and put it in that parking spot.
I'm not gonna agree to take any more parking.
I am not for cluttering downtown. I'd like to hear from, any comments from the crowd?
Please.
Put it on the bump outs on the south side. Where the parking spots.
I know what you're talking about.
Huh?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
The,
because
the problem is the fencing that's over there.
I'm sure they could walk around the fence.
We don't want them parking inside the fence though, which is potential
The
seating.
thing is the bistro's never gonna use that, because they have their own, and I don't know what the purpose of the one on the east side is, because there's no restaurant, so,
There's no restaurant today.
well,
You don't know what tomorrow brings, so do you want to have a bike rack right in the middle of that nice area?
you know, it could be 20 years before there's a restaurant there, so, I mean, I just think it would be a useful source for that slab of concrete that's just sitting there not being used.
I mean, I'd rather see them on the side streets. I don't necessarily.
And then, well, that would be the side street then.
No, I know. I'm just talking about within that fenced area.
Well, can you take the fence down?
Not now.
Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
I have seen bikes with their bike locks around light poles. I've seen this several times when I've driven through town, so I do know that they will lock them to the light poles. And I wouldn't want to clutter the whole downtown with a whole bunch of those, but maybe two on one side and two on the other side. In
Yeah.
an area that people would hop off and go in and see what was going on, I think would be beneficial. And if you don't like the looks of those, they make really nice looking
Yeah.
bike racks that.
I mean, there's one small footprint, single pole coming up, round, basically place that you lock the bike to, one on each side, and it's aesthetically pleasing, doesn't take up the same footprint.
I think that people will lock their bikes to light poles.
I agree.
Where you put them is up to you guys.
And we don't have to make this decision tonight. I mean, I know they did some legwork on where we could potentially put them, but we can also go out and do our own and come up with our own ideas here for a future meeting.
Perfect.
Is that fair? I know you're never going to agree with this,
As long as
but
we can get it down there, I'm fine with it.
you're still going to be on council when this happens, so. Oh, all right. Good for that discussion tonight, then? And Jan, we've got to have someplace to hook up, for people to lock up all these e-bikes, right?
Well, I see Jerry riding a bike at camp.
You what?
He doesn't lock his bike up, though.
Yeah, I ride my bike.
Okay, moving along to new business, e-bikes and scooters. Who's leading this discussion?
I believe that this is pursuant to a letter from Ms. Unger, so I would propose we let her begin.
Start with the comments by citizens. Ms. Unger, do you like this? Well, you know the drill. You've been here for a few of these.
Create the drill.
Well, I appreciate you letting me address this. I think that you all have a copy of my letter. If you don't and you would like a copy of it, of my memo, I'll be happy to give you a copy of it. I sent this out in February, at the end of February. I was hoping it would move along a little faster than it did. It hasn't. School's going to be out in a month. I'm going to get run over on the causeway. So is my dog. But honestly, they're just going too fast. I mean, the bikes literally go faster than the cars on Jackson Street. And they don't let you know that they're there, coming up behind you. You can't keep a look behind you all the time. And the causeway is my main issue, okay? Because I walk on that causeway probably 4-5 times a week with my dog. And when school's out, I know these bikes are going to be going crazy. But I think they're also going too fast. Some of the kids are too young. They don't have helmets on. I've seen them crossing 19, just zipping across down at the gas stations. 2 kids on a bike that was like this tall. I know that you're looking into research for this, and I understand that. Bikes at night are a definite problem, whether they're e-bikes or regular bikes. I almost hit a kid on a low-profile bike. It was very low,
I know the one you're
three-wheeler.
talking about.
And I didn't see him. He was so close behind the car in front of him when I pulled out the Coral Court on Morse Landing. I didn't see him. And everybody in my car started screaming. And so I have a picture of that if you're interested. My people in my car did. But, you know, they go faster than golf carts. We're requiring license for golf carts, and yet these bikes go faster. I know there's regulations that you have to deal with. I hope that you can get something done. Mr. Culp told me that you were looking at Fisher's ordinance, I believe, and I would love to have a copy of that if it's possible. But I appreciate your consideration on this. I think it's definitely an issue, and thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely. And just to comment on that a little bit, we have been looking over this for a little bit of time now, and it looks like other communities, and correct me if I'm wrong here, have essentially given different classifications to different types of vehicles for all intents and purposes.
The Indiana code treats them differently. For example, even though they seem similar, a bike with a motor but has pedals is a unique classification, different from one that doesn't have pedals.
So we can address the one without pedals, correct?
Yes, but we can also address the one with pedals.
Okay.
I've looked at this some more, and there is a provision that will let us adopt an ordinance for the one with the pedals. The Fisher's ordinance, and the council doesn't yet have that. Chief Redenauer shared that with me today. Fisher's just introduced that earlier this week. But it goes through and it addresses every one of these, as well as the scooters that are motorized. And it spells out areas where they can and cannot be operated and other rules that go behind how they must be operated. And I think it's kind of a good idea to start, but we can send you copies of what Carmel's done. Carmel's done it differently. You know, and so if the concern is getting them off the sidewalks, or if you only want to get certain classes, because certain classes of the e-bikes can go faster than others. But there are different things we can do. What I would suggest is we can get to the council copies of some of these different ordinances and set the stage for you to be able to review those ahead of the staff meeting. And then to have a discussion with the chief kind of making some recommendations and answering questions. And then whatever the decision is, we can then put together an ordinance to be proposed in theory at the following meeting if there's enough time. It'll depend on how specific we get and how we want to set that up.
And part of the challenge with the causeway is we ban them on the causeway, it puts them on the street, going across the bridge.
May I speak? The causeway was put there specifically when we had an accident of a bicycle turning into North Landing off of Jackson Street. That was one of our big issues, is bicycles on that causeway. And frankly, I don't care if they're on the causeway, I just don't want them going 30 miles an hour.
Absolutely.
So if we could just get a speed limit on that causeway,
Well,
that would be helpful.
one of the things we've discussed is even requiring them to walk their vehicles across the causeway. So
Now,
that there's no riding.
That would make me happy.
So would that apply to motorized and non-motorized bicycles?
We could distinguish if we wanted to pedals, or you might decide that you just want all bicycles walked across there. That's up to you guys. Yeah.
Scooters would fall, yeah.
Kind of what Fishers did was they identified all the distinctions under the statutes and then spelled out how they were treated, what type of path they are and aren't allowed on, and what sort of rules apply to them based upon their classification.
Well, I felt like this was an issue for a while, and I think a couple weeks ago, as I was driving my car across the bridge, I was being outstripped by a e-bike or scooter on the causeway. I mean, they were going faster than the speed limit, so that kind of told me, like, we have to deal with this. And I also think the quantity of these things this summer is just it's gonna be off the charts, so I'm very supportive of putting something in place. I do think it's challenging because they're kind of dangerous on the road, they're dangerous on the sidewalk. We're gonna have to figure that out, but I think we have to do something.
Well, I think you're seeing a lot more of these e-bikes, and those aren't roadworthy. So, I mean, I think those are some of the fast ones that don't have pedals. I think that's a growing problem.
Well, and one of the challenges is most of these, you don't have to have a driver's license, which means people 15 and younger, depending on what it is, can ride.
I mean, based on how it is now, what's stopping somebody from going across with you remember the old scooters? You know, there's really nothing that keeps those off there either. But that little bike you're talking about is a constant thing everywhere.
This bike didn't have a flag or anything on it.
I think it's the same one all over town.
This kid lives over in Tamarack.
That's the one. All right, so we've got,
We've got a plan.
yeah. Okay. All right. Did you have anything else on that, Jen?
No. I mean, you read my comments, so.
Sure. And we'll continue to work on it and get a hold of that ordinance and try to expedite this thing, because it is recognized. So,
It is a problem.
all right. Moving along, bump out ordinance 04-21-2026-01. Essentially what this is, we put this outdoor seating in, or these bump outs in, and we'll use Broncos as an example. Broncos is going to serve food outdoors, and it's a situation where they would like to also be able to serve beer outdoors. We're not yet to the point that we have DORA approved downtown, so to allow them to do that, we're having to create a separate ordinance, and that's what this discussion centers around. So it would be contained to essentially the seating area, but there are further restrictions on that.
Well, it's town property and letting the independent businesses adjacent use that town property.
Yeah.
And it sets forth requirements that they name us as an additional insured, that they leave the ADA access so that a person in a wheelchair can get by and things like that. It also spells out design standards for tables and chairs. Now, one thing that I was talking about earlier today with Mr. Strong, what's the roasters? Darkside Roasters is using some benches, which we don't include here. If we want to include those, we can amend that to include those, permitting those, because currently, as you read our ordinance, it doesn't permit that in that area.
There are benches or theirs?
They're their benches. And I don't think anyone has a concern about the aesthetics, and they meet all the other requirements. It's just that if we're going to allow that, I would suggest that we amend the ordinance, and we could either put a pause on it tonight, or if you want to adopt it tonight, we could come back with, we would basically be amending the design standard to include a bench, and we could do that in 2 weeks when we have our next meeting.
Me personally, being that we're already coming up on May 1st, and the activities and the weather's changing, I'd like to get it done tonight if we could, and we can amend it later.
Can we just do a verbal amendment? Per your,
Yeah, I mean, we could amend it to allow benches,
with your
yeah.
writing that up? I'll make that motion. to
Hold on a
approve.
second. Dan, you said you had spoken to the owner of Broncos about the tables outside. Are there current tables that she just bought to replace the original ones in compliance with this ordinance?
So yes, so she fixed the issue of what she was concerned about by changing the table design.
Because I think it's a 36-inch length on the
Yes.
rectangles,
So they are
correct?
compliant. I stepped it off today. They appear to be 36 inches.
Okay.
So when we originally put the ordinance together, if you remember correctly, we were looking at tables and chairs. But unbeknownst to us, then all of a sudden the benches appeared. And we were like, well, we're going to need to address that if we want to keep the, allow the benches. Because currently it's not spec'd in our current ordinance.
Okay.
But it still has to comply with the aesthetics and with keeping the pathway and all the other stuff.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That would not change. It
Right.
would just stay in the ordinance that we add benches. And then we probably in the permitting process would add a picture of a bench of what that might look like.
And the feeling was a bench makes sense because, for a coffee shop, they're not having people sitting down with a plate and eating a meal like that. And so you could see why that made more sense for them than some of the other people.
Yeah, I agree.
And the width of the bench does meet the ordinance. It's just the addition of the slatted seat that sort of changes the whole perception of what the table looks like in the original design, so.
Sure. Okay. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Think we're good? Everybody good? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve bump out seating of 4212026-01 with the addition of benches per Aaron and Mr. Strong's details.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good to go there. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Moving along to miscellaneous, which we have nothing.
Were we supposed to do something about Memorial Trail or not?
Do we have to do that tonight?
Maybe I just had that.
No, the trail dedicate,
Okay.
that's what you're talking about,
Yeah,
right? The
that's
trail
correct.
dedication? I don't think we need any,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
All right,
We'll mention that in the next meeting, just so people know.
Sure, okay. Right now, are we set on the 16th for that?
Yes, or unless I hear back from differently, but I sent that out today for clarification, but
Then we'll wait till the next,
continually moving
Yeah.
forward with that particular
Let's
date,
wait.
May 16th.
we'll wait till the next meeting and make official announcement on that then.
I'm not able to be there.
That's fine, I'll be there. Okay, moving along, comments by citizens. We've already addressed Ms. Unger, so Mr. Northcutt.
All right, my name is Mike Northcutt. Appreciate you squeezing me in tonight on such short notice. Thank you for doing.
What's your address?
120 Morse Landing Drive.
You want to pass it down here? Actually, pass both of them down.
So I am trying to get a fence installed. We back up to the cemetery. Everybody else, I'm trying to put my fence where it aligns with everybody else's fence, but that is in the drain easement. So that would require me moving my fence in the back up 20 feet, which then would intersect my shed. So then I'd really have to move the fence up further, and my shed would be outside of my property. There's not a neighborhood, like I said, behind us. We're not backing up to anybody else where they could also encroach in the easement and make the easement non-existent. So I'm looking for some sort of amendment, possibly, to let me put the fence in the easement and align it with my neighbors. There's already in my yard a section of fence in that spot.
So your neighbors, where their fence, to align it with your neighbor's fence, does the easement taper in so theirs isn't within the easement?
No, they're in the easement,
They're
too.
in the easement?
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with this easement. It
It's very big.
The
'cause
full length of Morris Landing Drive, including behind my house, so I know your pain.
And that's
Do we have
my,
any lines in there?
no, it's just drain. All our utilities are in the front. And I'm more than willing to make any sort of compromise that I can. I'm just trying not to cut my backyard in half and then have my shed outside. We're trying to put an above-ground pool in and trying to meet that code by putting in the privacy fence because of the above-ground pool.
Right.
But my plan is to put 2 5-foot gates in the back, so it'd be a 10-foot opening for access. I'm willing, I think my email was forwarded over, I'm willing to sign paperwork for liability, like if there is a reason the fence needs to come down, I'll eat that cost. I'm not trying to put that on anybody else.
Has the pool been approved yet?
It has not.
I just submitted that last week for the pool.
Mr. Hunter has a question.
You know, aerial photos that you can put up or anything?
I have a plot plan.
Oh, we have pictures too.
That's what I'm looking for. I thought we did, I just can't find them.
First.
I'm not a drain expert by any means, but where the fence is, I really don't see that I'm in any sort of slope where I would be interfering with any sort of drainage. I'm also willing to have my fence up higher a little bit in the back if there's something we could decide on to make sure if there is a lot of water coming through where I'm not collecting and blocking anything with my fence. But that is where I do kind of also worry about the property value situation too. If I am to put a fence in 20 feet and then there's multiple neighbors around me that have their fence out, if I ever went to resell, that is the photo I shared. Don't mind the wood. I've had to have tree stumps moved trying to get all this under order. But that is where the 20-foot line would hit, is right there in the middle of my barn doors.
Jim, are you looking for GIS?
So if I can, I'm trying,
That
I'm
is,
looking at this from a sanitary perspective, as well.
that's my neighbor's basketball court. That is out further than anybody's fence even. Those trees are technically in this easement. I mean, I'm not, been sitting in here, I've listened to everything else. You guys are dealing with really big stuff. This seems very minor. I'm sorry to bring this up, but I also, it is my house, and I just want to make sure an informed decision is being made.
I don't apologize. There's no need to apologize. We actually have a conversation about this easement probably once a year, so.
Okay,
Not this one, but easements.
Easements.
yeah.
I've got the GIS up.
What number are you, Aaron?
4?
I thought Eric was 4.
And 2.
Okay, it should pop up.
All right, right here is his lot. Here's the cemetery. And
So
then
what is the green line indicating?
that is roughly where the property value, or the property line is.
But not necessarily the easement.
The easement's not on GIS.
Yeah, the easement's not shown here.
Okay. But this picture just kind of shows my opinion. As you move on down Morse Landing, I see where the easement is a bigger issue because you have houses on both sides. So if both houses were building 20 foot into the easement, there is no longer an easement. I worked for a telecommunications company for 16 years. Believe me, I completely understand easements and understand why they are valuable. We used to run into that quite a bit where you're trying to access a telephone pole or something and easements haven't been followed. I understand. I'm not trying to cause any issues with that. But that's, I mean, where my shed's at, I mean, moving that into 20 feet really turns it into closer to 30 feet because I got to put it on the other side of the shed.
And just for clarification, there's a fence there today,
Yes,
so you're asking to continue it down and move
Yes.
it this way.
correct.
And then there's that concrete pad.
Yeah.
You said there's already a section of fence there.
Yeah, behind my shed, there is a section you can kind of, coming off the other direction, There is probably like an 8-foot section, something right there. There's already a section there. We've only lived here for a couple of years. When we bought the house, I knew like there was an easement, but I did not think we were going to run any issues wanting to do something because everybody else's stuff was already in the easement.
I do want to caution you, again, this is not exact, but it appears that part of your neighbor's easement may be on the cemetery's property. So that line is supposed to be roughly where the property line is. And so if you're going to determine where to run yours, I wouldn't necessarily go back just because that's where his line is.
Okay, because you're saying it angles, right?
Yeah, like,
So,
if this is in fact the line, then it would appear this fence is on the cemetery side.
oh, yeah, okay.
So I'm just saying, if I'm you, make sure that you go where your property line is. Don't rely on this, just in case that's correct.
Okay.
From my perspective as the president of Cicero Cemetery, I can assure you from previous survey that was done about 10 years ago, that fence is over on the cemetery property, as well as that cement pad there where they used to play basketball.
It's on cemetery property, you said?
Yes. And so, one question I have is you mentioned 2 5-foot gates.
Yes.
Where would you place those?
Those would be, I would have those in the back, middle of the yard there. So there would be access back out to the cemetery. And then I would have I'm putting a 5-foot gate on this one side and a 4-foot gate on the other side. I'm trying to make everything as accessible as possible.
Why would you have access out of the cemetery?
Because
Do you intend to bring equipment through there?
I don't intend, I intend to just have access to the easement.
Yeah, I took it to mean he's wanting to leave it open in case we need to get through there.
I'm trying to.
We oftentimes get people that misuse the cemetery and drive their heavy equipment. In fact, that shed was placed where it is from access from the cemetery. And that was okay, except they did a lot of damage and left a lot of repairs for us behind. And they weren't really, they didn't even ask ahead of time, but that's in the past. So I'm just asking because
I didn't do the shed.
I'm just asking.
He knows you didn't do it.
I'm just asking because I represent cemetery.
I appreciate that info.
So then, the council can say it's okay to encroach on that easement, but I think, Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, it was stated they still have to go to the BZA?
They would, because that's a development standard. So if this council approves tonight, we still need to get a variance to encroach on the easement.
Which Frank has helped me file, just in case, because we were up to the deadline. So,
You're being asked as the property owner of the easement whether you would give consent to an encroachment. And if you give consent to the encroachment, then they have to ask the BZA if they can get a variance from the development standard that mandates there be setbacks.
Okay.
I'll go first. I understand you're in a tough situation. The easement has been there since the 60s. I'm personally not in favor of changing the rules.
any sort of compromise you'd be okay with? My email, if I moved it in 15 feet, where I'm just trying to get it where it's on the other side of my shed?
I mean, I just don't, as a matter of public policy, I don't think we could make a customized solution for like every parcel in town.
I'm not arguing. You're allowed to have your own opinion. I appreciate that. But I think there would be a pretty solid case for the few houses right here that do back up to the cemetery, since we're not backing up to any other houses. That's my only other perspective on this. Other than this, I'm just,
I
I'm
get
a
it.
dad that's promised my girls that I'm putting in
I get
a
it.
pool back there.
I
man.
get
I'm
it's a
just
tough
trying to-
situation.
So I guess my perspective we have had easement discussions before, and we have made adjustments for those. There's no infrastructure under. Do you know if you move it right up to the back of the house, or not to the house, to the back of the shed? Frank, do you have any idea what that distance is, how much he's asking for an encroachment?
It'd be like 5 feet, I think.
Well, from the property line to the back of the shed, right where Aaron's pointing, using a GIS measuring tool is about 10 feet. So that shed already encroaches about 10 feet or so. It was approved in 2016, evidently. So he's talking 10 feet.
So
That would be a
10 feet?
10-foot encroachment, roughly. GIS is usually within a foot or two.
Yeah, because that previous picture where I had the blue line drawn was like 20 feet from what I think is the property line. So it hits like right where the barn doors are would be the 20 feet, and I'm just really asking to go back like 5 feet from that. So I could be behind the shed. Does that would be like 15 feet?
I don't think so.
No, you think it'd be more than that?
Yes.
Okay.
So I guess my takeaway is I myself would be okay at the back of the shed, understanding the surrounding. I appreciate, Frank, you following the rules and following the ordinance. Absolutely, you don't have an option. We as a council can make recommendations. So I myself would be okay putting it at the back, seeing this specific scenario, situation.
Thank you.
I agree with Jacob. Rules are rules, and we can't continuously do one-offs. It doesn't happen very often, and I understand your pain.
My struggle with this, having to deal with this easement, is does the easement make sense where it's located? That's always been a question of mine. We've had multiple discussions about this. And with that easement being put in place since the 60s, does it still make sense where it is? Has that easement ever been accessed since it was installed in the 1960s?
So it's a drainage easement.
It's a drainage, right?
It's drainage, it's not access, it's
Yeah.
drainage.
I mean, I promise you, if you walk the full length of that easement from the south end of Morse Landing to the north end of Morse Landing Drive, there's encroachment 3/4 of the properties. I mean,
It's a lot. Those are all old encroachments.
they're all old, you're right, 100%, they're old encroachments, but we're talking concrete pads, we're talking about in-ground swimming pools encroaching, you know.
It would appear that we're gonna have a split 2-to-2, if I'm interpreting where everyone's going. We're gonna have a 2-to-2.
I don't know where you're
tie
going.
on this.
Mike, I'll tell you, in theory, I would like to say yes. My challenge with this is we've said no to multiple people in the last few years.
Well, every situation.
But every situation is different, and that's where I'm at. And you do have a valid point in my eyes about being at the north end and backing up to the cemetery. But at the same time, we run into situations on the south end where it's only backing up to one of the ponds. But the challenge there is it creates such a narrow strip
For walking
between
around.
that and the pond
Okay.
for accessibility, but that doesn't exist here. In this situation, I would lean towards allowing the encroachment, I believe. I just don't, I don't want to take a hard line on everything, where some things make sense where it doesn't make sense in other places. And if you're willing to make concessions,
I'm
I'm
willing to compromise.
open
any-
to it.
It would appear with a 2-2 tie, we're not gonna have a,
And this is where Rhonda comes into play.
either Rhonda comes into play or you table.
You ready to make,
it.
you ready to make that big decision, first time stepping in?
We have.
You're nervous.
Ability to defer to Dennis when Dennis
Yeah. if you would.
What's your time frame on this?
Well, they're waiting on the pool permit to get approved, but they're hoping the pool can be installed mid-May. Honestly, if we're, depending on what happens with this, might cancel the pool, which I've already paid a deposit for. So there is a lot riding on this situation for me. I should have looked at this more. This is the first time I've ever had construction done on the outside of a house. I have learned a lot from this. Definitely. You definitely need to talk to Frank before you talk to anybody else.
We meet May 5th.
Do what?
We meet May 5th as our next meeting.
But Dennis won't be here.
Oh, he won't be here then?
Be here.
I'm not supposed to make a decision.
So, I lost my train of thought. Oh, I remember what it was. I'd feel a lot better about making this decision if I knew the pool was already approved, because it's a moot point if the pool's not approved anyway.
Well, the fence isn't approved either.
I still would like a fence. With us being at the front of the neighborhood, and I love all the events that happen, but that puts a ton of foot traffic around my property. I wouldn't mind the security anyways, and I have a 5 and a 2-year-old, and we are to the point with them going out and playing in the backyard. Sometimes that is a little too open for me, so
Sure.
fence is probably gonna happen no matter what.
So really, just, this is about the placement of the fence.
Rhonda has indicated she's willing to cast the tie-breaking vote. Under Indiana law, when there's a tie on the council, the clerk treasurer can break the
So
tie.
we haven't made a motion yet.
Right.
So I will make a motion to accept placing the fence. Help me out, Frank. I'm gonna say at the back of the shed,
You can call it a 10-foot encroachment.
at the back of the shed at an estimated 10-foot encroachment.
I'll second. All in favor?
I think you need to do by.
Oh, we're gonna do roll call?
I approve.
I'll approve.
Oppose.
Oppose.
All right, so we have 2-2 tie.
Just hearing what I heard, just because there are no utilities back there, it backs up to a cemetery, I'm not opposed to,
So you approve?
yes.
Welcome to the big seat, Rhonda.
Thank you, Ron.
So that doesn't mean it's approved. That means
I-
now you can go to the.
You can go to the BZA.
I really appreciate your guys' time on this. Thank you so much.
And thank you for working the process with Frank
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you did.
I would also like to say, this has only been a couple-day process. He has emailed back, he has called, he has been on top of it. I know that I've probably been annoying and probably got a little frustrated with him on the phone at first, and I apologize about that, and I appreciate you working with me on this.
Frank and Terry, thank you guys for always following the letter. It's appreciated. So,
You do good work.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything else? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We got a motion, we have a second?
Come on. You want me to do it again?
If we need to bring you in.
I will second.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, everyone.